There, YouTube. Oh, there's my camera. Yeah, hi. How you doing? We're jumping into our Niger update, Africa in Africa. Play it safe. Thank you, Adam Altogether. And thank you for sticking around, Adam Altogether. I appreciate it. Not sure. Sometimes the chat gets quiet. I know you guys are doing other things. You got me on the other screen. I get you. I appreciate you being here. But thank you, Adam, for letting me know you're alive there. Better play it safe. It's so funny to me, though, how much power that word has. We all know what word I'm talking about, right? It's so interesting to me how successfully weaponized that word has become to such an extent that I literally can't call a country by its name in text form without potentially getting my channel banned. I can't even type it into Twitch, by the way. I can't make it the title of my stream. So I do think that is very interesting, that an entire country's identity has to be censored because of the rampant right-wing nonsense that we see in every social media platform. You all know it. You've all been on it, right? They saturate every fucking crevice. Actually, this PragerU video refutes that, right? It's exhausting, and it's intended to be exhausting. It needs to be exhausting. All right. And look, I know my hair looks whack. Give me a fucking break. I got it cut a couple days ago. Everyone's a goddamn critic. But back to the actual news here. Niger is experiencing a coup, and I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on. Go figure. I'm supposed to be a big smart news guy, but let's go ahead and learn together because I would like to know.
In Niger's capital, supporters of the military coup attacked the governing party's headquarters. Yesterday, hundreds of people supporting deposed President Mohamed Bazoum were dispersed by gunfire. Presidential guards announced they're putting an end to the current regime. And that has clearly divided this country. We are here to defend democracy, says this demonstrator at a pro-president rally. We have always believed in the army, says this man supporting the coup. This is just the latest in a series of coups in this region. Militaries seized power in Mali in 2020 and last year in Burkina Faso. Leaders in both countries have moved closer to...
It always blows my mind that every one of these military coups, there's always a group of civilians that always think it's that this time this is the right move. We need a strong arm. We need a strong, decision maker. He's an honest actor, right? Fought in some war or something. There's always those civilians that think an authoritarian direction is where we need to go, even when it is so clearly not the right decision, and it spirals out of control. Right. Oh, we'll have elections in 12 months. We'll have elections in 24 months. Right. Tick, 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 tick. Elections come along. Oh, no. Just kidding. We need more time. Come on. How many times does this template need to be repeated in Africa, especially?
Russia and away from the West. Experts say this week's coup presents a new opportunity for Russia to flex its regional muscles.
If the coup holds, if the putschists manage to survive, that might create this opening for Russia to try and strengthen its cooperation.
That is just part of what concerns the international community.
Yeah. Look, I don't mean to be like Mr. NAFO dick sucking, Uncle Sam dick suck over here, but I gotta say, like, if there's a, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to show other evidence of it later in the stream. But if there is, if there is a country that is like, not that honest, we'll say, I'm trying to be fair, right? If there is a country that, maybe up to some shit or not that stable, military government, right? Russia is like right there, right? Hanging out with Kim Jong-un or Il-un, right? It's Un now, right? But like, getting as close as he can to some of the most corrupt governments and tyrants across the world. Am I crazy? Right? I don't mean to be a bias here, right? Uncle Sam, Western Alliance bias. would create a real economic political progress in Africa. It seems like the same old shit for decades. And that's the thing, is like Russia's not coming in to make anything better, right? They need the resource. They're pulling resources out of Africa as much as possible to fund the war, right? That was like one of the first things that Putin did, was take over Prigozhin's mining operations in Africa, right? Apparently they were always technically Russian anyway, so I guess he just had to change bank accounts or whatever. I don't know. But that was like a very high priority, was all that money coming out of Africa. There's a bunch of mining operations happening, Russian mining operations in Africa. Yeah, add them all together. That's a good point.
I am indeed extremely worried.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres points to a regional destabilization, not just in Mali and Burkina Faso, but Chad, Sudan, and now possibly Niger.
We are witnessing that the whole belt south of the Sahara is becoming an extremely problematic area with terrible consequences.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke with Bazoum, a long-standing Western ally, Thursday morning.
We call for his immediate release. We condemn any effort to seize power by force.
And yeah, Clutch Cargo, it's going to take an honest attempt. It needs honest actors. That's the problem, is that all these bad actors are just replaced by more bad actors. Right? Add them all together. Oh, I didn't see that. Hold on, let me check.
The whereabouts of the president remain unknown, but it appears he's not going quietly. Via Twitter, Bazoum told his supporters their
crazy, isn't it? Crazy. I feel so bad for Nigerians.
Hard-won achievements will be safeguarded. For now, though, nothing here is safeguarded, and the next few days will prove pivotal for the country and indeed the entire region. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, London.
Ooh, it's got uranium though. That's pretty valuable. It's just wild. Like, as soon as there's a military coup, it's like he's like the final boss, right? He's like, congratulations. Congratulations, brutal coup leaders. Welcome to the club. You've made it. All right, so I thought this would be good because I'm a dummy and I need to learn myself. But 4 things to know about the unfolding coup in Niger. I gotta be careful. I really need my soundboard. I need my soundboard so bad. There's so many good soundboard clips that I have for this.
Niger has been plunged into chaos. The president's been detained, and for now, at least, the army has taken control. But what happened? How did we get here? And most importantly, what comes next? Here are 4 things to watch as the situation in Niger continues to unfold. Taking power is the easy part. The Presidential Guard locked up the president. They seized the state broadcaster and announced on air they were, quote, putting an end to the current regime.
I love it. It looks like a WeWork studio. You know what I mean? Like, this is the, look at the shelves, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, and this is the problem. It's just this cycle repeated over and over and over and over again, right? These grifters come in. Look at this guy. I mean, he just threw this on at the last second. He's not even wearing a proper dress shirt underneath.
Okay, so now what? Holding on to power is a very different beast than taking it. The head of the army has said that to avoid bloodshed, he will support the coup. But will rank-and-file soldiers fall in line? Remember, many of them are stationed on a base where they're being trained by French and American troops, whose countries adamantly support ousted President Mohamed Bazoum.
Lovely name.
On the streets of Niger's capital, people are divided. Supporters of the coup lit cars on fire and attacked the ruling party headquarters. Those who backed the president were dispersed by gunfire. It's still not entirely clear where President Mohamed Bazoum is, but he's not going quietly. He's tweeting out messages to the country, and Bazoum's still taking phone calls from the UN Secretary General and the US Secretary of State.
Ooh. This is a nasty position to be in if you're a leader of a country where the U.S. is trying to keep you in power. This is a nasty, nasty situation to be in for one of these guys.
Niger is a landlocked country in the middle of West Africa. It's racked with poverty and in the midst of years-long Islamic insurgency. But it's a key Western ally, and it's a crucial piece to a larger regional puzzle. This region below the Sahara has been beset by military coups recently. Mali in 2020 and 2021, Burkina Faso last year, Chad had an unsuccessful coup attempt last December, Sudan has been in a constant state of crisis for years, and now Niger.
Hey, Zia,
There are at
thank you
least
for coming
1,000
back.
U.S. troops in Niger. After the coup in Mali,
Niger.
French troops were kicked out of the country, so they set up a new headquarters alongside the American.
Yeah, my parents-in-law are visiting, so I had to ad hoc set up a studio, so I didn't have to explain why I'm cursing and screaming and and all that. This is easier than having to try to explain that. There's actually no political or economic solution to the human problem. Clutch Cargo, buddy, there's always hope, man. There's always hope. There really is. It's so funny to me, like the Jeff Bezos or the Elon Musks, they have enough money to really get in here and make a difference. But the problem is that to fix Africa, it would have to be a multi-decade nonprofit, right? Because the problem is everyone that goes into Africa wants to get a little bit for themselves. It's resource rich, right? So they go in there with philanthropic ideas of, philanthropy. But then they're like, oh, maybe I could break myself off a little bit, right? And then the exploitation continues. It's an exploitation cycle. So it would have to be an element powerful enough to encourage democracy and liberty, but also not be interested in exploiting Africa for all it's worth. So that entity doesn't exist. Look, the United States doesn't come on in and help unless there's something to, unless there's a benefit for them, right? They don't care. We got all the money in the world. We got more money than God. Doesn't matter. What are you going to do for Uncle Sam? Oh, not much. Okay, well, we got better things to do. That's the brutal reality of global geopolitics. It's not just the United States either.
In Niger, and all those.
Your constituency doesn't reward you for draining your bank account or, emptying your resources to help a country 3 million miles away. That's just the reality of it. We're not that evolved yet.
Western troops are a long-standing grievance.
Whoa, those hats. I thought I had a stroke for a second. Those hats, the colors.
And all those Western troops are a long.
Damn, dude, it's like an optical illusion. The fuck? It's like white construction paper. What the fuck? I hope they don't wear those in battle.
Long-standing grievance. They're training the very army that now has to decide if it will support the coup or rally around the president. But there's another player here as well. Take a close look at the videos of demonstrations in support of the coup. They're waving a Russian flag.
Great.
Russia is key to all of this. When the military seized power in Burkina Faso and Mali, both countries moved away from the West and forged a tighter bond with Russia. Instead of working with the French military to fight Islamic insurgents, they turned to the notorious private army of Russia's Wagner Group. In a quirk of weird timing as the coup unfolded, Russia hosted a summit of African leaders in St. Petersburg. And guess who was there? This guy, Evgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group. He's supposed to be in exile in Belarus.
It's unbelievable. He is apparently, okay, is it official? Is he working for Pooty Poot? Has Putin decided this guy's too valuable to kill, or did the whole Prigozhin like doing this for Daddy Putin? Because the whole thing was like, Daddy Putin, Shoigu isn't treating you right. Shoigu is a piece of shit, and I'm gonna do a better job than Shoigu, and he's not commanding the troops right, and I can get Ukraine better than Shoigu can, so I'm gonna go after him. That was the whole coup attempt, right? It was this focus on going after Shoigu. Did it work? Because he was all like, oh, Daddy Putin, right? Is he working for Russia? Is that what's going on? Or did he do this without Putin's permission? That's even fucking crazier if you think about it, dude. Did he actually do this without Putin's permission? Is that why? Because of the hats? The hats were... I just got done with War and Peace. I gotta say, The hats were ridiculous. They had these like kind of tall hats with the eagle on. Everyone got to wear one of the like the eagle that the fucking eagle that everyone would carry around on the flag. What are they called? Standards, something like that. French military uniform back in the day was absolutely absurd.
Belarus after staging the first dance moves of his own coup, but he's obviously still useful. When Putin wants to increase Russian influence in Africa, Niger is a prime opportunity.
If the coup
Blowing my mind.
holds, if the putschists manage to survive, that might create this opening for Russia to try and strengthen its cooperation.
Coups are chaotic, and you know who benefits from chaos? Insurgents. We've seen that in Burkina Faso and Mali and Chad and Sudan and now Niger. And that scares the heck out of the UN Secretary General.
The whole belt south of.
Yeah, I mean the thing is what are these countries actually doing? You know, like I said, it's like, well, is helping this country going to align with my self-interest? And I guess that's really the only reason why they care as well.
The Sahara is becoming an extremely problematic area.
No guns, just hold the flag,
with
get shot at.
consequences.
Yeah, and
The
they
swath
would get
of
shot.
countries south of the
People-
Sahara are
you know.
racked by climate change.
Apparently, it was a really popular thing to shoot the guy that was, that was holding the flag, and then another guy would drop his weapon and pick up the flag. It's like, okay, yeah, keep that going. Another guy drops a weapon, right? That style of warfare is bananas, man. It's totally bananas. How you could just like you'd be on the top of a hill and you would be observing the entire war happening in one place, like the Battle of Asterlund, I think, was one of the famous ones in War and Peace. I've done a deep dive on it, but yeah, Napoleon just sat up on a hill and he just got to see the whole thing happen. Totally amazing.
Niger alone is losing an estimated 250,000 acres to the desert every year. A combination of poverty, lack of workable land, and political instability is a tailor-made environment for insurgent groups.
The last thing you ever want when you have a security vacuum and a governance vacuum is for non-state actors to be able to have a safe space to hide, recoup, and figure out a way to expand from there. And these jihadist groups have managed to do that quite well across Burkina Faso. We don't want Niger to look the same.
The question looming over all of this is whether there's much the West can do. After 20 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan, there's not a lot of domestic support for America's role as global police force. So in a lot of ways, this coup is a key test of domestic stability, regional security, and global politics all in one go.
I mean, really, that is the debate, right? How much, how involved do we get? Is this our, and I think the reason why we need to get involved is that the condition that they're in is because of our exploitation, right? It's not, but how much of that, like, are we able to quantify that? And are we able to say, okay, what would Africa look like without the West's exploitation? Would it still be this mega corrupt, one corrupt administration after another, and I mean, with all of our resources, we can bomb an entire city. We can bomb the biggest cities into craters. You know what I mean? We could put men on the moon. We can do all these cool ass things, but we can't spread a little democracy, like legitimately, like, I don't know, build some hospitals, build some schools. You know what I mean? Support politicians that, are friendly to the concept of democracy and friendly at least to the concept of building hospitals and schools. You know what I mean? So we're just totally out of ideas. If we can't drop a bomb on it, we have no solutions. There's just we just have no fucking clue what to do with it if we can't blow it up with a fucking robot 3 million miles in the air. Is that what you're telling me? I just find it hard to believe. We got all these resources, money, time, everything. We're kings of the fucking planet, the United States. But we can't figure out how to legitimately spread a little democracy. At the very least, build a fucking hospital. right? I don't care. I don't care if if a kid is getting help, but maybe some Burkina Faso terrorist also gets his shit fixed. I'm not gonna trip. I don't know, but what's a hospital without doctors, right? Who's gonna go out there and be a doctor? I don't know. Like I said, it just feels weird. It just feels weird, right? Like Ukraine, we got the solution. Boy, we got warehouses of solutions ready to go. We got 5.5 million cluster solutions ready to go out the door. Great. Okay, I agree with it. Africa's falling apart again. A bunch of countries in Africa is falling apart. What? Right? It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. Just feels cheap. Feels cheap. All right, so this gets into the global consequences of the coup, and this will be the last clip we have today on Niger. Money you can make wading into existing power structures and putting your hand on the scale with Western power was just too tempting. Yeah, I doubt most Americans know that Burkina Faso is a country or where it is. Is Burkina Faso a country? I thought it was like a jihadist group. I thought it was just like Al Qaeda. I thought it was one of those. It's a country? See, I don't know. I mean, but I don't need to know, right? I mean, what's the government doing? You know what I mean? The CIA knows how many times I flush my fucking toilet every goddamn day. You know what I mean? The CIA has more data on me than I'll ever know. Right? So, but there's jack shit that they can do in Africa. It's a country, Burkina Faso. See, I didn't know that. I don't know. I don't claim to be a fucking genius here. I'm just trying to understand this as best I can. I just don't understand how the richest country on the planet, if we can't drop a bomb. My observation is that if we can't drop a bomb on it, then fuck it. We can't. There's fuck all we can do about it. That's what it feels like to me. I hope to be proven wrong.
Smoke fills the air outside the president's party headquarters in Niger's capital, Niamey. Women who appear to exit from the building are targeted, but then escape, as cars are set ablaze and the looting begins. It's localized, numbers are in the hundreds, but this is the chaos of a coup nonetheless. Elsewhere in the capital, they hold aloft the Russian flag, demonstrators who see it as a source of security.
We think that what is necessary today is to have a win-win partner, not a partner where it's only the West that profits. It's about dignity. That's our problem.
This is a Nigerian coup, of course, but Russia's influence looms large.
And imagine a Western influence that didn't have its own motives, right? Where the only motive was to try and spread democracy and to actually make Nigerian people's lives better. Because it is always, oh, we'll do this for you if you let us, mine your whatever for like pennies on the dollar, and we'll pay the people who are the Nigerians that are working the mine or fill in the blank, whatever the resource, we'll pay them pennies on the dollar. A chair that'll get you a couple bucks. What, a couple million Nigerian bucks? What's the currency over there in Niger?
In the region.
It's $1 million
Niger
chair,
was
man.
in the process of shrugging off a reputation as part of the coup club of countries in this part of Africa. But then yesterday, a military spokesperson flanked by officers took to the airwaves to announce that President Mohamed Bazoum had been removed from power. Elected 2 years ago in the country's first democratic transition since it gained independence from France in 1960. Despite being detained this morning, this defiant tweet.
The hard-won achievements will be safeguarded. All Nigerians who love democracy and freedom will see to it.
After questions over the extent to which Niger's full army command would get behind the coup, today that question answered. they would, in order to avoid, quote, a deadly confrontation that could create a bloodbath. Here's why the region has been tagged Africa's coup belt. On the one side of Niger, Mali. It's experienced 2 military coups in the last 3 years. Burkina Faso has had 2 military takeovers last year alone, leaving Niger as the pivotal ally for Western powers seeking to help fight Islamist groups in the Sahel. French troops leaving Mali in February last year. The forces moved to Niger after Mali and its neighbor Burkina Faso became increasingly hostile to French involvement.
Yo, that was so cool. You could definitely tell they're French because look what they're carrying. FAMAs, dude. They're bringing FAMAs into fucking combat, dude. How cool is that? I love using the FAMAs in the first-person shooter games. They're such an interesting weapon. They got their rear-loaded magazine, counterbalanced. It's nuts. These look weird though, not like the old ones. These look newer.
Leaving Mali in February last year. The forces moved to Niger after Mali and its neighbor Burkina Faso became increasingly hostile to French involvement.
Is that why they're wearing the mask for the sand?
Instead, the new military juntas turned to Russian-backed forces for protection, in particular the Wagner Group. There are concerns that if the attempted coup in Niger is successful, it could move in a similar direction. There are layers to what's happening in Niger, though. Yesterday, demonstrators who support the president scattered as gunshot rang out. Why this coup is happening is unclear. One theory, for example, possible disquiet amongst the top brass in the country about how European grant aid is being divvied up. Whatever the reasons, though, instability.
So yeah, I mean, Nidnak, that's the prevailing thought, right? That these countries fail because of the exploitation from the West, right? And what do we see? We see Russia, right, coming right up. I guess Russia's not the West though, but it's a great example of like, oh great, here's a military dictatorship that that will go along with what I want, right? But I don't know. I mean, I want that to be more quantified. Okay, I would like to know more. Okay, like how much of this is on Africa and Africans refusing democracy, refusing, how much would it take? How much would it cost to actually see an improvement? Right? Any kind of estimates. There's think tanks doing all kinds of studies and stuff like that, right? Has anyone quantified this? That's all I want to know. Because I see a pattern. I see a pattern here of like, one bad grifter, bad actor government replaced with another bad actor government over and over and over and over again. And exploitation just left and right.
In this part of the world can go very viral very quickly.
So I don't know. It's more about the education. If they don't understand the power struggle they're engaging in, they have no chance to overcome it. Okay, so Nidnak, you're in charge, right? Snap your fingers. God help us all. Nidnak is in charge, right? You are tasked with fixing Africa, right? God help you. You have to now fix Africa. You are given an unlimited amount of money and resources to do that with. You are given an unlimited amount of money and resources to do that with. What are the top 3 things that Nidnak does in Africa? And remember, Africa is an amalgamation of a bunch of different countries and tribes and all these different, power structures, right? Top 3 things you're going to do. Hail Lord Nidnak. What you going to do, right? Because I do think education needs to be up there. But what good is building a school if the government doesn't let anyone teach or be taught inside of it? Right? If you build a school, that's great. Well, okay, now they're not letting people be taught inside of the school, right? Some religious bullshit. Burkina Faso, right? So, I think the West has an obligation here, but I think this pithy kind of, and I'm not criticizing you, but I see this a lot on the left, right? Wow, the West. It's like, yeah, okay. What do we do? How do we do it? Anyway, though, I do hope to see some kind of conclusion to this. It's very bad news to see Russia immediately backing a military coup. I'm sure the government, Mr. Bazuma over here, was no better, was probably extremely corrupt, right? But he was pro-Western corrupt. So that's okay. Build more farms with AI, government with AI basis, implement structural agricultural reform. Okay. I'm down. I'm down. Yeah, sorry everybody, I got a sack of hamburgers. I like to eat hamburgers. So I ordered a sack of I'm like Jughead. I'm literally like Jughead. Oh, just while my parents-in-law are here. So I stay out of their hair. But I get hamburgers. I don't get cheeseburgers. And I like to buy a sack of them so I have multiple hamburgers throughout the day. Right? I'm like Jughead. I'm literally like Jughead. I just get a whole sack of hamburgers. I swear to God. I'm Jughead. I ain't playing. I got 4 hamburgers right here. I got 4 hamburgers. I got a sack of hamburgers. There's 4 hamburgers in here. Oh, thanks, YouTube. That's the end of my Niger update. Thanks, YouTube. This is a professional operation. Thank you.